Hello and welcome. My name is Space Muffin, and this is the Void Strategy. So today I have the ultimate guide for beginners in 2024 Warcraft Rumble. So this has been something that's been really requested, and so I just want to provide you guys with all my knowledge and things like that. So let's get started. First you're going to do the tutorial. So you're going to see a screen that looks like this. In your top right-hand corner, you're going to see the gold resource. I have 140 gold. I have 21,000 arc light energy. I have 17 cores, rare cores. That's the blue one. The purple is epic, and then the golden yellow one is legendary. The little button there is how many times I can recycle in the shop, and we'll talk about that later. And then this is your sigils. Basically, each level you unlock, certain perks and things like that. And you do this by completing the campaign. Speaking of the campaign, this is the map right here. So as you continue through the campaign, you are going to unlock new areas. So, for example, and then you're going to unlock, different bosses and things like that, which you're going to be able to do. Now, you'll notice right here. This one, they're glowing. When they're glowing like that, that's called the Arc Light Surge. And those ones, you get bonuses and rewards for completing those, specifically usually 60 gold. So what's great about these is you can acquire that gold without having to spend real world money. So we've kind of gone over all of that. Then on the bottom here, you're going to see the different quests that we can do. So once you complete 3 things, you will earn a reward. So for example, if I do 3 campaign missions, then I will get a reward. Now, as you can see, all mine have been unlocked. Obviously, I've beaten the most of the campaign, and so I'm in the heroic campaign. So the heroic campaign is this right here. It'll show you the rewards for your once you complete the heroic campaign. But anyways, I know I'm going very fast, guys, but I'm gonna get to the main points here. So do not sleep on your Arclight quest. Do not sleep on your daily quest, because you can get rewards like leaders. You can get rewards like your horde tome, so you can level up your units and things like that. So doing quests is very important. So as you can see, this will show what quests you can do. So you'll see that this has a 3x bonus. So that means I'm going to get 3 times the reward. And it might be green, which is just 1, or it might be purple, which is even more. So, and then you can kind of choose what unit you want to focus on. So we'll get to that in a second. The next thing I want to show you guys is the shop itself. So ignore all this stuff. Ignore, season, pay for this, pay for that. Figure out what deck you want to build first. Figure out what you want to build. And this is where you're going to purchase your units. Okay, so for example, let's say I want to purchase this mini. Holy Nova. I can purchase it for 90. Now you might be saying, Space Muffin, what's that 7,760? What the heck is that? That is the XP bonus that you get. So you can get a major XP bonus. And you can move those, as you can see. I don't recommend doing it. So let's say I purchase something that's within one of these 2 lanes. So either the this lane or this one with the whelp here. Then that's going to get an additional 7,760 XP. So you want to obviously keep your eyes open for that. Now, the other thing I want to mention about the shop is it rotates. And so, or you can recycle it if you have those buttons that we talked about earlier right here. The buttons that allow you to recycle. So, in my opinion, when you're first starting off, to avoid the spending a bunch of money, figure out what faction you want to collect. My recommendation, when you're first starting off, is doing Alliance and Beast, because those are the most diverse units, and they have a lot of synergy with other units. So, okay, so what did I just click on? I just clicked on the troop section. So this is my army section. So you'll notice you're not going to have all these guys unlocked, okay? You're not going to have them all. You're not going to have every mini unlocked when you first start. But what you want to do, and if you've watched any of our previous videos, you can kind of learn how certain decks play. So, for example, we have Tyrion here. We just did a video on him. And Tyrion is an amazing starting leader, okay? So when you look at Tyrion, and when you look at any mini, you're going to see first kind of like a little video of what they can do. So he can heal people. That's really great. Then you're going to see the talents. Now, talents are very important, guys. Do not just buy talents. I want you to research your talents, figure out the best one, because it's really, really hard to, because you have to level up your rarity. So your units start off common. So like, for example, this is a common unit. You can see that it's, uncommon. And that's what unlocks the talent. So it'll be gray. So uncommon, you'll get your first talent, and then rare, you'll get a second talent. And then once you upgrade to legendary, you'll get a, or I guess epic, you'll get a third talent. So talents, be very, 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 very careful when selecting your talents, okay? I had to learn that the hard way. So anyway, so these are all your minis. You're going to see all your minis here. You're going to be able to select talents. You're going to be able to build your deck, okay? So let's talk about building the deck real quick. You want to build synergistic units. So that's why I say collect like all alliance units, right? So for example, you'll notice that there's a golden, or there's a crown above their head, right? So that represents your leader, and it's gold. And how you like upgrade your rarity, so you'll notice like this one, the Defias Bandit, you'll notice that one's a bronze color, right? And you might see some that are like a silver color, like this Chain Lightning. Okay, now let's go back to Tyrion, okay? So the crown above Tyrion, that shows that he's a leader. The Griffin Rider, you'll see the alliance symbol, shows that the alliance units are affected by that. You'll notice, and so on and so forth, right? So what is this system? I'm going to explain it to you guys real quick. This is your army upgrades, okay? And you can get army upgrades by doing the dungeons, okay? And so the alliance upgrades, this is also a very important thing, because the obviously the leader, that doesn't change, but the top three, so alliance, tank, those don't change as well. Those stay the same. You can change the bottom three, so depending on the kind of deck that you want to build. So keep that in mind when you're doing the dungeons, is they do get more difficult the more you level up your army. But that's why it's so important to kind of pick an army, pick a faction, and then kind of pick a build that you want to do so you can level up your units. So let's click on info right here. You'll notice the Prowler here. That gold, he costs 3 gold to play. He is a beast unit. That's the symbol on the left hand. And then you'll see his talent, the talent that I have selected, which is on the prow. You'll see his level, okay, which is 22. And then, you'll see how close he is to leveling up. And then you'll see like a 0 out of 25. This is how many times you've purchased the unit in the store so that you can level up your unit. So it's 3 times to upgrade to uncommon. It's 10 to upgrade to rare. And then it's 25 to upgrade to mythic. So yeah, or legendary, whatever it's called. So, like, I have very few units that are updated that high. So, Sylvanas is, right? She, is upgraded to that status. So, I have all 3 of her talents unlocked. So, for a guy who just nonstop plays the game, I can be a little bit more experimental. But with you guys, I want you guys to focus on a specific faction and a specific deck, right, in the beginning. So I know you guys want to experiment, and that's fine. And the best way to experiment is doing the arc light surges, because those will give you sometimes different modifiers. So, for example, this week it's glass cannons, or this particular one it's glass cannons. Another week it might be Horde and Alliance, so then you get Horde and Alliance minis. So it's a really good way to experiment with decks. So what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and get into a game here. So let's go ahead and click Quest. Let's go ahead and click, I guess we'll do the Raptors. So there's several elements that you want to be aware of. Number 1 is map awareness. You want to know where the gold is, how much of it is spawning, and you want to have a plan of action. So my goal is to push this tower here, so I'm going to send some units that way. I also want to prevent them from getting gold, and I also want to prevent them from, advancing their units, if that makes any sense. So just be aware of the map, and then be aware of what units are being placed where. You have several types of different units. You have tank units, you have flying units, like the eagle, you have ranged units, and then sometimes combinations of each one. Now, there's the unit that I just played is an unbound unit. Unbound simply means that you can play it anywhere. You don't have to play it at your base or a hearthstone. We will talk about hearthstones here in a second, because we don't really have any on this map. So once you capture a tower, you can play said units, at that tower. But if you have a hearthstone, you can also play them. If you capture a hearthstone, you can play the units at the hearthstone as well. So you want to put your more tankier units in front, obviously. And then you want to have your more squishy units, obviously, backing them up. And each unit, as you go on, as you become more advanced, you will learn kind of what each unit does. You don't want to focus too much on that. You want to focus right now on learning the basics. So being aware of the map, preventing their units from getting gold. Now, these arrows here allow your units to change direction, right? So I'll put Jaina out. I'll put him out. We'll go and get rid of him. And now the units, instead of going straight, they'll go to the side here in this lane. So just a quick tip for you guys there. Once again, you want to control the gold. You want to make sure that you are always getting gold and always making sure that your opponents do not get gold. So being aware of the map, being aware of what units are doing what. You have spells. Spells are all unbound. You don't have to play them in a specific spot. And spells, can help you immensely. So, really take advantage of that. And so, yeah. Once you win, it will show you, it'll be pretty, you'll see the victory sign here. So, very cool. So then you can claim your reward, and then that counts towards your quest being complete. So see how it did that? So let's go to the dungeon. So dungeons, this isn't something that we're going to go over in this particular video, but dungeons, like I said, let you level up your army, and it counts towards your quest. But as we mentioned, it also lets you do your army upgrades. And so there's that. So let's talk about each faction real quick. I know we kind of briefly touched on that, but let's go ahead and talk about that. So we have our alliance here. That's the lion head right here. So those are our 3 alliance leaders in the game so far. Then we have our beast. That's the paw. We have 3 of those. The next faction is Blackrock. You'll see that we have the 3 Blackrock leaders. The next faction is Horde. Okay, and then the final faction is Undead. Each one has kind of specific themes and elements that synergize with itself, and sometimes will synergize with other factions as well. So I'll give you an example. Undead, they have a lot of, death and decay, and they have a lot of, really undead themes. So, for example, this unit, it's a cheap tank, but it can also replenish its health by eating other units, right? You have the Necromancer, right? He can summon skeletons, You have the Gargoyle, right? And he just runs up and hits towers, right? So each faction's a little bit different. Alliance, you'll have things that heal people, things that units that also are really just synergistic in the sense that they are very heroic, they work in squads, right? Whereas the undead, you do have some squads in undead. So, for example, you have Skeleton Party, which is, a squad unit. So, to find the traits, as we talked about earlier, you'll see the description, you'll see the talents that you can get, and then you'll see the traits, which is the final screen. So you can see that this is a melee unit, it's a squad unit, it's unbound, it's elemental, and it's a frost unit. And then you can, of course, see the stats. So why do I mention that now? I'll tell you why. When you're doing your army upgrades, right? So let's go back to Tyrion, okay? When you're doing your army upgrades, you'll notice that corresponds. So for example, elemental, right? Or cycle, right? It corresponds to an attribute in this. So for example, the Defias Bandits are a squad unit. They're a melee unit. They're obviously an alliance unit. And then they're a cycle unit. So then any one of those will affect it. So for example, let's say we swap this with the Griffin Rider, right? It's an alliance unit, so it's still going to get that alliance bonus from the army upgrades here. But you'll notice that the Griffin Rider also gets the bonus, even though we swapped it out. And that's because the Griffin Rider is a cycle unit as well as an alliance unit. So let's swap the Griffin Rider with the Huntress here. You'll notice that this is now kind of darked out, and that's because the Huntress is not a cycle unit, if that makes any sense. So if we look at her attributes, her traits, she's a ranged AoE fast, unit, so she doesn't get that bonus from the cycle. So that's why you want to be very, very cognizant of your placement of your units, right? So for example, we have a beast unit in here, and he's a tank, right? So he gets the bonus from the tank. So my recommendation, if you want to learn more in-depth things about your units, is go to nof.gg, okay? And that website is going to show you just some kind of experimental builds and things like that. Obviously, you can watch this channel. You can visit us at thevoid.gg, and you can join our Discord as well. So, but anyways, going back to what units to get. Prowler is really great. Prowler works in a lot of decks. He's fast, and he synergizes very well with a lot of units. This is another great one. Safe Pilot. Synergistic. It works really well. Okay? And obviously, Alliance staples, right? So Griffin Rider is going to be an Alliance staple. Defias Bandits is going to be an Alliance staple. And then, of course, we have our Huntress. So it depends on what you want to build. So if I were building Jaina, you'll notice that there's some overlap, right? Defias Bandit, Safe Pilot, Griffin Rider. So you'll notice there's kind of that's a good unit to have. I also would recommend Blizzard as a good spell. It's pretty synergistic in a lot of decks. And you'll notice that there's overlap with Tyrion. And then you'll notice here, oh wow, okay, look, we have Safe Pilot, Defias Bandit, Griffin Rider. So you'll notice you'll start to see units show up a lot in different decks. You'll notice that we have the Blizzard and the Prowler, right? So there's overlap. Another good unit is the Harpies. They're really great. They synergize in a lot of different decks. So you'll notice also in our Horde decks, our Undead decks, that there's gonna be some synergistic elements here. So for example, I don't recommend running Blood Mage, but if you do, Arcane Blast is really great. Arcane Blast also really works great in Jaina. So the key is to plan. That's the key here, is to plan what kind of deck you want to build. So some 2024 specific things, right? Each month there is a new season, okay? So, and they're going to release a new unit. And the new unit, shakes up the meta a little bit. So when I say the meta, I'm talking specifically about PvP, right? So for example, you'll see these different modifiers, right? And you'll be able to learn which ones those do. And those shake up the meta a little bit. Now, you'll notice that there is a bar here, and it'll show you your PvP rank. You can also get PvP rewards, such as gold and things like that, from that. So let's talk about another element, and that's the social element. The Void, that's our guild. If you want to join, feel free to join. But you can get rewards. If you're not in a guild, join a guild. And even if it has 2 or 3 members, if they're active, you can complete your season rewards, and you can get a whole kinds of fun bonuses from that. So that's the basics, guys. I know it was a lot, but that's kind of the basics. And if you guys need any help, you can hit me up on. You can ask questions on YouTube and things like that. don't overthink it. Just do your best, forget the rest. Really look at, what units you want to do and play the game that you want to play. So, guys, this is the ultimate guide for Warcraft Rumble for beginners 2024. So thank you guys so much for watching this video. Please hit that like button. Please hit the subscribe button. Leave a positive comment. And we will see you guys in the next video.